So London is in the midst of a housing crisis at the moment. The numbers speak for themselves. The Mayor has already outlined the need for 42,000 new homes to be built every year. We're currently building less than half of that. The private rented sector could potentially be one of the solutions to that shortfall in delivery. The Mayor himself has outlined a desire to have at least 5,000 new homes per year being built by the private rented sector. Essential Living are proposing to build a portfolio of high quality, professionally managed rented accommodation across London and the wider South East. That is going to go to the heart of addressing some of the housing needs that the capital has.
There's 3.2 million households in London. Half of them are owner-occupied, a quarter are social housing, and a quarter of the market is PRS. And Essential Living's vision, or our vision, is to be the premier brand in that market space, and we're hoping to do that by building about 5,000 units, hopefully completed in the next 7 years, which will make us by far the largest institutional landlord in London.
Essential Living are funded by a long-term institutional capital fund called M3 Evergreen. We came into partnership around September 2012, and our initial equity commitment from M3 Evergreen was £150 million sterling. That equity is used to acquire assets and contribute the early stages of equity required for construction development. We then proceed with moving forward with developments with raising debt in a traditional senior debt capacity.
Essential Living and M3 are effectively creating a platform that enables institutional long-term money to be involved right at the front end of a development. So it is actually acquiring the sites, it's funding the construction, and then it's holding the asset in operation. So the need to create a development profit and an investment return can be looked at in a different way than perhaps if there was two different parties in that deal.
One of the most exciting things about PRS has been our particular involvement in research and development. And for the first time in 30 years in the business, I've actually created a research and development flat, an apartment that is actually there to test the kitchen, to test the oven, to test utilities, to test the taps, to test the flooring, to see how it is to live in the apartment, because we're actually retaining ownership of it. So a lot of the R&D products have been specified for not just their aesthetic quality, but for their longevity as well.
Essential Living have a large programme of development to carry out over the next 10 years, and we have appointed EC Harris to provide us with very valuable assistance in initially cost consultancy, but the relationship has developed such that they also provide us with project management and the management of our brand supply, which constitutes approximately 25 to 30% of our construction cost. Through the brand supply, we have achieved savings in the order of 20 million, and through the efficient management of costs on the projects themselves, we have managed to counter inflation and to reduce cost. At this stage, it's difficult to quantify an exact figure, but we consider their input to be very valuable to us.
I think one of the key things we've done is enable Essential Living to be in control of their development programme. I think it's particularly important in the current period of the construction cycle. The volatility we're seeing in the construction and development markets are unprecedented. So to be launching a major rollout programme into the type of market we're currently into, it's really important to understand how you can beat the market, how you can safeguard the certainty of delivery, and actually be able to make informed decisions on a very dynamic programme of work. I think the work we're doing at the moment is right at the vanguard of creating effectively a new housing sector in the UK. The need to have additional supply, building houses that people want to live in locations where they want to live and have flexibility of tenure is going to be key going forward. The work that's happened to date is certainly making big inroads into that objective, and The innovation that has come out as part of that, I think, is critical to ensuring that the institutionally backed private rented sector in the UK is a success. I think the future is bright. I think you only have to look at some of the government initiatives that are looking to support and pump prime the large-scale private rented sector to see that it's seen as a very important part of addressing our housing crisis, not just in London, but nationally. And the way in which essential living are playing into that need is going to be critical to addressing a requirement for additional capacity, for additional housing, for additional funding.